Good morning, everybody. I hope everyone is doing well. Let me know if you can hear me okay. And if you're on this early, you probably are watching the replay, so give me a hashtag replay. Let me know you're here. I'm going to just give it a minute for people to hop on. I don't think anybody is quite, well, there's somebody. And let me know, can you hear me okay? A couple of you guys are hopping on right now. Let me see, I do have my laptop here so I can follow along with you guys since for some reason the comments don't come up on my phone anymore. So if you're not hearing me and my laptop decided to shut itself off, let me know. And I'm just waiting for some people to hop on and then we'll get into it today. Oh good, Tammy says she can hear me. Thank you, Tammy. So how is everybody today? Tammy, I hope you had a great weekend. I'm working with my sound in my office, she shed office here. It's a little echoey, so I'm experimenting to see if we can make the sound a little bit better. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna look down for a minute. Hi Jennifer, I see you on there. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Starting off our Mondays right. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend and you took care of yourself. If you've been following me, let's see, yes, Tammy says smoke free and the sun is out. Oh, you're telling me, right? The smoke, I know you've had it a lot worse than we have here in Northern Nevada. California is just being hammered by the smoke, but it is so nice to see the blue skies, isn't it? It's just such a relief. So let me see. I'm just going to get this going on my laptop too. And for those of you who are new, I'm going to introduce myself if it's your first time watching me. My name is Evelyn Knight. I am the Childcare Business Coach, which I do host a podcast by that name, the Childcare Business Coach Podcast. I'm also the founder and CEO of Childcare Business Professionals, which is a company that helps childcare business owners and directors find success while maintaining high quality research-based standards. So many people go into this industry not understanding business principles. They don't really know and understand how to run a business. And that's the gap I like to fill. I like to help you guys learn how to be successful business people while maintaining high quality research-based standards. It's very important that we always keep the children first. So that is my main focus, is keeping those high quality standards. But as owners and directors, we also need to be able to turn a profit, right? In this industry, for some reason, people look so down on owners turning a profit. But any other business, we're expected to make money, right? And not only that, but I was once at a point as an owner where I could have gotten as a director and made more as a director than I was making as an owner. And actually I wasn't making anything at the time. But for some reason, that's how I felt it needed to be, right? I could have gone and literally had a good salary as a director, but it's not really fair, you guys. Owners, we deserve to make money too. We work really hard. It is a job on its own. And I think there's a huge misperception out there for us, and we do deserve to get an income from our businesses too. We put so many of us, we put our hearts into our companies, right? Childcare is not a normal type of a business. This is something we put our hearts into, and it becomes such a big part of us. I joke a lot that it's like my third child. My center is like my third child. So, and then for those of you who are new to watching me, I am a childcare center owner also. I currently own a center. We're looking at buying another one. I love my work more than anything, and that's why I have a passion to really help owners out there learn that this can be a profitable career for you guys. We can take our passion and our love for ECE and we can make it a profitable career, and there is nothing wrong with that. I've got to tell you, a couple weeks ago, I was actually bashed in a Facebook group for saying something like that. There was a couple directors in there bashing me, like, oh, you owners are greedy. Really? We're not greedy. We put our life into our centers. I mean, sometimes we literally put our life into our centers. There is nothing greedy about us being able to make a living and an income off of our childcare centers with what we put in. So I'll get off my soapbox there now and I will get into the meat of things. Today, I want to talk about failure tolerance. And right now, what I'm seeing in our current environment is just so much, I don't know, there's a lot right now, right? And there's just so much going on that it seems like we're faced with so many huge decisions, and it can feel every day like we're just putting this new project into place and we're seeing one failure after another, right? Do you guys, did my sound just change on you? My earbuds, I'm trying to use my earbuds to sound better, but something just seemed to have disconnected. I'm not sure what's going on there. So I'm hoping my sound is still coming through okay. So with failure tolerance, you know, like right now, the school year starting, all of us are trying something new. When it comes to, Brady, are you saying no, my sound is still good? I hope, okay. So we're trying to figure out what is going on, right? With what's going on with the school year. How are we going to manage this? How are we going to juggle all these kids? And we're all trying these new ideas. And these new ideas are failing sometimes, right? We implement this new thing, we try it out, and it's failing. And then we have to try something again, and maybe that doesn't work out. And then something, you know, maybe it takes us 3 or 4 times to finally find that system that's working for us. So what I really want to focus on is building up our failure tolerance and the fact that it's okay for us not to get it right all the time. The other thing I'm seeing within our industry right now is so many people are just giving up. They're giving up on their centers. They're just, this is too hard, I can't do it, and they're giving up. And they're not really embracing that fighting spirit. If there's one thing that 2020 has brought to us, it's that 2020 has been a very uncomfortable year. I think we are constantly being put into an uncomfortable situation, and none of us are in our comfort zones right now, right? It's definitely made us uncomfortable, but that can be such a good thing. This is when we really grow and we can just transform into the next better version of ourselves when we embrace that, right? So really just think about that, you guys. Yes, it's uncomfortable every day. The school year is just starting. We are learning how to navigate this. We suddenly are responsible for our school-age children, right? And their education. We went from always being seen as secondary to suddenly the nation is asking us to lead this, right? And that is not comfortable, but it is empowering, and we can really, really grow when we embrace it. Getting out of our comfort level and really getting used to feeling uncomfortable will really just launch you into that next step, or that next better version of yourself. It really will. So I cannot encourage you more to embrace it. Acknowledge it, absolutely. You want to acknowledge that lack of comfort. You want to acknowledge the fact that this is really uncomfortable. Trying all these new things, knowing that it can fail, and often it is failing, right? A lot of our ideas, they're not working, and we have to keep going back to the drawing board and back to the drawing board and back to the drawing board. But that's okay, because by the time we get it right, it's going to just be so good. And we are going to emerge from this a different, better, stronger person, right? So really keep that in mind. One of the things I really want to encourage you guys is not to give up too early. I think when it comes to failure tolerance, people just kind of try 2 or 3 things. They throw in the towel, they say this isn't going to work, and they're done. Or the going gets really tough and they give up on their centers and they close it down. I've told you guys over and over, and I will keep telling you guys a story about me at my center 10 years ago. I had an eviction notice on my door and I didn't let it stop me, okay? And I have a couple of my staff members watching right now, and they can tell you, if you guys only knew the times that I should have given up. My family told me to give up, you guys, and I didn't, right? I didn't give up. I mean, there were people, I had a staff member at one point. So I'll tell you guys a story about before, when I first took over my current center, I actually had a different director. I wasn't the owner director at the time, brought her in, and she was so convinced that I was going to fail that she went to my competitor, brought the owner over, and started showing her around. literally started showing her around my center. She was so convinced I was going to fail. And this was, I don't know, Brandy, what was it, 11, 12 years ago? That she was so convinced. Brandy was with me at the time still. She was the assistant director at the time. And just kind of watched all this play out. And I just, I have to say, a normal person probably would have given up at the point that I was at in my life right then and there. It was hard. I was facing a lawsuit. I had, there was so much, you guys, going on. Not only was the center really struggling, I had purchased a center that wasn't what I thought. Back then, I didn't know how to do my due diligence correctly. I didn't have the business knowledge I have. So I really had purchased a disaster. I didn't know what I was getting into. I had lawsuits going on. There was just so much coming at me that I think a normal person would have given up. My family told me to give up. They told me this isn't going to work. You could go make a job making 6 figures with your degrees. Why do you keep fighting? But I couldn't give up. I don't. And if there's one thing I've always known is I may attempt to do things and I may have lots of small failures, but I do not fail until the minute I give up. True failure doesn't happen until the day you decide to give up. Okay? And I don't care if you have to shut down a center. I don't care if you have to shut it down. And I don't care if that experiment was a failed experiment. If you get back up, go open another one and try again, you have not failed. Okay? The only time that you reach true failure is when you admit defeat and you stop trying. We can try 1,000 times, you guys, and you haven't truly failed, right? Until you give up. So I want you really to understand that it's okay to have these experiments that fail. It's okay to close down a business. It's okay to move on to the next. You're not really failing until you decide to give up on your dreams and give up on yourself, until you really quit. That is true failure. Quitting is true failure. Having a couple failed experiments, that's not really failing, you guys. That's just trying. One of my biggest examples that I love the most, and I'm so glad I discovered this when I was very young, but Stephen King, we all know who Stephen King is, right? One of the most successful authors of our day and age. And all of you know if I say Stephen King, we all know how absolutely successful he is, right? Interesting fact about Stephen King. He had over 3,000 manuscripts rejected before he actually ever got published. 3,000. Imagine that man mailed out his manuscripts, the book Carrie of all, over 3,000 times. And it was rejected over 3,000 times. Everybody in his life told him to give up. His mother told him to give up. His mother told him that his dream was unrealistic and that he needed to move on. He had a teaching degree. She told him, just embrace being a teacher. This is going to be your life, but you're never going to make it. Okay? Everybody in his life told him he wasn't going to make it, but he didn't take that for an answer. How many of us would have the fortitude to send out 3,000 manuscripts, to receive 3,000 rejection letters and keep trying? Can you imagine if Stephen King would have given up? I mean, think about the legacy he's left us, right? Just who he is. If you guys want to study an incredible person, his life story is awesome. And I'm really, really glad that I read his autobiography at a very young age, because it really just motivated me to understanding that failure isn't really failing, right? Giving up is failing. That's what it is. Let's see. Suzanne says, yep, been there. Even with an attorney that I previously did not disclose. Yes, I was there too. I had a lot. It's very hard to prove when you purchase a center and there's a lot of things that aren't disclosed. I can't remember what the lawsuit's called. It is extremely hard. And I'll tell you guys, if you're looking at purchasing an existing center or anything like that, absolutely get professional help. Absolutely. It is very, very, very hard to win a lawsuit. It's almost nearly impossible, and it costs so much money when you, when people sell you things that aren't fully disclosing the information or hiding facts or you're pretty much, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. And I remember at the time when this was going on for me, I was talking to lawyers, and it was very clear that I had been misled about a lot of things, but it would have cost me anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 just to pay for the lawyer. And then he was saying that even then, it's pretty much a no-win situation because it is up to the buyer to do their due diligence. So it was my fault for not doing enough due diligence, right? So you get into this situation where I just cannot encourage you enough to hire somebody before you purchase any center, because a forensic accountant or whatever you need to do, it's a mistake I will never make again. But you really don't win. It doesn't. And I was facing that. I was trying to fix my center, and at the time I had owned another center, right? I bought this as my second center, and I was closing down my first center to consolidate the two. The one I purchased was twice the size from the one I owned. Okay, so I had decided, okay, I'm going to close my center down. I'm going to consolidate the two, and together. And when I bought the center, it was only at 50% capacity, so I should have been at capacity. I should have been all this stuff. Well, as it turned out, it was just the craziest thing. So much happened, you guys. The building was going into foreclosure. So when I bought the business, I bought the business, not the building, right? And I did not know that the mortgage was already not being paid. The building was going into foreclosure. But the way it was set up, they were set up as separate entities, so it really didn't matter. They didn't have to disclose that to me. So here I was. I had just closed down my own center. I had just walked away from my center and moved into this new center that was, I did not know 5 months in, it's in foreclosure. They owe the IRS a bunch of money. There was just so much, you guys. The books weren't accurate. There was just a mess. The only thing I did do right was I did an asset sale. I did not purchase the actual business. I only purchased the assets. So thank God I did that, because none of the debt that business incurred was on me. I did not inherit the IRS debt. I did not inherit, and let me tell you, there were bill collectors constantly coming after because of the previous owner. I did have to end up hiring a lawyer to fight all of that, which it was a pretty easy fight, but still, it cost me thousands of dollars a month to have a lawyer to prove that I didn't actually buy the business and just the assets, right? Which, you guys, that's a whole other subject we can get into. I talk about these things in my membership. I know this might sound totally foreign and it may make no sense to you, but it's just, just remember that, just asset sale. Just remember that, it'll save you when you buy a center. So, but I did end up having to hire a lawyer to help me in that area. I had to hire another lawyer to help me stay in my business that was getting foreclosed on. It was a nightmare. The building, the lease I had, just, when you get foreclosed on in your business, there's not much you can do, but I fought and I fought. If you only knew the things I did to fight, and it was so expensive. After we won the battle and I was able to stay in the building, the bank basically allowed me to stay in the building. Well, I had all these lawyer bills, and I then started to struggle to pay the lease, and I fell behind, and I got an eviction notice, and I just wasn't going to give up. And I found a way. I literally had a 72-hour eviction notice on my door that I did not allow to bring me down. I found a way, and let me tell you, it was hard. And it did take me a couple of years to dig out of the hole that was created at that time. But we did it. We dug our way out. And Brady and Alana are on here now. They supported me. They've been with me through the whole thing. They've seen me struggle. They have seen me, I'm sure they have seen me in some horrible positions. I'm sure they've seen me in fetal position crying on the floor. They've been through so much with me. But the bottom line is, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be talking to you guys right now, right? I wouldn't have everything I have today had I not fought. Had I allowed those little failures to bring me down, right? I have been down to nothing, and I fought my way back up. Okay, I have had a lot in the past where I've had a couple houses at a time and I've lost it all. But I didn't ever allow it to bring me down. and I was able to bounce back stronger and better. And I know now all of those failures have really brought me to where I am today in a stronger position, right? So through all of this COVID mess, we were okay. My staff was okay. My center was okay because I knew what to do now. So all of the pain that I went through for those years, all of that failure and all of those disappointments brought me to the place where I am today, where I know my business is secure now. So that's why I really want to encourage you guys not to be scared to fail. It will make you a stronger, better person. And just remember, every time you fall down, you just need to get back up. You just need to get back up. You don't truly fail until you stop getting back up. They are just milestones. You guys, I'm here to tell you that money comes and goes, right? And we fixate on it so much that we need more and more and more, and we need to build it up. And I know, trust me, I know what it feels like to have to make payroll and just be terrified because you don't know how you're gonna do it, right? I've been there. I understand. And it is, so money does have that power, right? Where it's just, when you don't have it, you just feel that. It's so powerful, but it does come back. Just remember that when you're in those situations and it just feels so horrible and hopeless, it doesn't last. It doesn't last. And I know that this year has been one of those years for a lot of people where we feel so hopeless and horrible and so much is being thrown at us, right? But this too shall pass, right? It will pass. And there's always a way. You just got to really start thinking creatively and really outside the box and find ways that you can fill gaps and pivot in order to come up with other streams of income. Break industry norms, right? That is one of the things I help my members with all the time. Let's think of another way. Let's not, we got to get away from these industry standards all the time, because that's why we're looking at a 50% decimation of our industry right now. According to the NAEYC, they expect 50% of childcare centers in the United States to be out of business due to COVID. But it's because those owners are so fixated on the industry norms and we have to stick to this, and they're not thinking of other ways. They're not looking at how else can I bring some income in? What else can I do? What else is out there, right? So I'm always going to teach my members that when you're struggling or whatever, let's find another way to fill the gaps. What else can we offer? What other streams of income, right? And are a few of them going to fail? Yeah, they will, but that's okay. When they do, we're going to try another one, and we're going to try another one, and we're going to try another one until we find the right one, right? We're going to keep going. And that's why I want to see you guys get this failure tolerance level where it doesn't really faze you anymore. You can just take that idea, wad it up, throw it in the waste basket, and move on to the next one, right? We can't let them bring us down. That being said, I know, Brandy and Alana are watching. They know that something's not going to work, and I'll just be in a tirade like, it didn't work again. Now I got to come up with a new idea. So that being said, what I do have to tell you guys is allow yourself that time to vent. Don't suppress it. Don't try to make it go away. Do allow yourself that time to get it out, right? But limit it. One of the things I do allow myself, and it depends on how big the situation is, and I'm going to use my son leaving for college as an example. Dropping him off for the first time to college was probably just one of the most heartbreaking experiences of my life. Like, there's nothing like taking your baby. I don't care if he was a 6'1", 18-year-old man at that point, but there's nothing quite like taking your baby, dropping him off in another state, and having to drive away, right? That was so difficult. So I really just gave myself a weekend. It was, I think it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and just allowed myself to just grieve, just really let all that emotion out, right? But then come Monday morning, and I make this sound cut and dry. It wasn't quite as cut and dry in this, but this is how I basically tell myself, okay, get over it and move on. And then you get back to work. So when you have these ideas or, in COVID, these things that fail, I will give myself an hour or two to just really rant about it, to really just get upset, to just get that emotion out, right? And then I tell myself, okay, time to move on, get over it. And I can be pretty harsh sometimes and use some tough love on myself a lot, but that's pretty much how I do it. I'm sorry guys, my dog's, I gotta keep my dogs out of here. She started nibbling on my tripod, and I brought the old one today. But anyway, I just really just give myself that time to mentally get it out. If you can't suppress the emotions, they will come. So you need to let them out, right? We cannot suppress those emotions because they will come, whether we like it or not, but you can control when they come. So set that time aside, give it to yourself, but put a time limit on it. If you're still wallowing after 2 weeks, then you are letting it get away with you, right? You're letting it get way away from you. So put that time limit on yourself to grieve, and then you need to move on. That's it. But get those emotions out. Rant, rave, do what you need to do, and then tell yourself, oh, look, it's 3 o'clock. I'm over it now, and move on. So that is, let me look at my notes really quick to make sure I'm covering everything. You know, okay, there is one other part of failure tolerance that I really, really want to cover. Let's see, Tammy says, my emotions came out Friday. Needed weekend to recover, yes, right? And that's great, that's fine. And that's why you guys, when you see like every Saturday in our Facebook group, I always ask you guys, what are you doing to take care of yourself, right? Because it's so very important that we are getting all that out. We've got to take care of ourselves. I don't care if you just give yourselves a couple hours. I know for most of us moms, and you know, when we have our households, a lot of times our weekends are our time to catch up on our homes, right? That's what we do. We work all week, and then Saturday and Sunday we got to catch up on our families and cleaning the house and getting laundry done, and it's just work, work, work. But it's so important that we get that self-care time, right? Even if it's a couple hours. I had a very busy weekend, so Saturday morning I got up really early, like 5 a.m. and I went out to the desert for a walk. Did the same yesterday morning, right? And I literally spent yesterday morning, gosh, I spent like 3 or 4 hours out there just hiking, and which I didn't think I was going to be able to get in this weekend, but I just knew I needed it. I needed to get out there somewhere. I knew I wasn't going to be able to get out on the water, so I went out into the hills. So that's where it's so important to plan something for you, right? I don't care if you Netflix binge a little bit, just you've got to decompress, right? Because that is going to help that failure tolerance go to the next level. I know Tammy is one of my clients. She's been working on a lot of stuff right now, a lot of high pressure. Tammy, I commend you. You've been under a lot of high pressure. And so definitely need that time, even though our weekends get busy too. Make sure you're cutting some time out for yourself, even if you just take a bath, you know, just on Sunday evening and light some candles or something. You've got to take that time. Or even if you sit on your favorite chair and Netflix binge, you've got to give yourself some time. So that will help get that failure tolerance level up, right? So just make sure you're cutting out time for yourself every day. And every day, give yourself 5 minutes, you know, just to breathe. Even if you have to go lock yourself in the bathroom and just do some deep breathing, just get some time. And I'm going to show you guys a really cool exercise for deep breathing that I used to use on children, but we can use it on you too. So if you take your fingers, right, and you just, let's see, what you're going to take your hand, you're going to breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. And you do it all 5 times. 5 breaths really does help calm the heart rate, right? So if you just go lock yourself in the bathroom when you feel that anxiety level getting high and you do your breathe in, breathe out exercise, something I used to teach children. I don't know why I haven't for a while, but just, you know, you can teach them how to breathe in, breathe out to help de-escalate them. And by the way, you want to teach them when they're not escalated. Doing it while they're escalated is definitely not the time to teach. But that also helps us as adults, right? It just reminds you to take those deep breaths until you get used to doing it. But the 5 deep breaths method, there you go. So one of the things though, the last thing I really, really want to touch on today is how people react to failure. And I was telling you guys earlier that when I went through that period, I didn't have a whole lot of people who believed in me then, right? And it was hard. I told you guys my director basically had the other owner come to my center. I mean, she was literally preparing, like trying to save her job, thinking, okay, the other owner can come and buy her out and, you know, whatever. I don't know what she was thinking, but basically totally blindsided me when this other owner showed up to tour my center because the director had called her to tell her I was failing. And try that one. That was a fun day for me. Needless to say, that director got fired, and she was shocked that she got fired. But totally different story. But I just want you to think about that, right? The people, they'll tear you down, and it can be exhausting. So really work on quenching those voices, right? Just really work on being your own cheerleader, and watch how you react to not Brandy. Brandy was not the director who got fired. She was my assistant director who stuck with me, which is why Brandy's still with me all these years later, and she's my director now. But Brandy and Alana stuck with me through everything, and they were some of the only people in my life back then that didn't give up on me. That probably the only two people, honestly, that didn't give up on me, that believed in me and stuck with me. I had a lot of people give up on me. And the main thing, though, is you just can't give up on yourself. That really is, you can't rely on other people to get you through. You really have to believe in yourself. And there will be the closest people to you. You guys, I got to remind you, Stephen King's mom told him he couldn't make it, okay? So some of the closest people will not believe in you, and they will give up on you. They'll see the pain that this failure is causing you, and a lot of times out of love, they're going to tell you to give up, that you can't do this, that you're being unrealistic, because they want to see you out of pain, right? But in reality, it's not helping us, it's just hurting us. So when everybody around you seems to be giving up on you, and it just seems like, I don't know, just, you know, it can get it to your head, right? There was definitely moments where I wondered, like, gosh, maybe they're right. Maybe I'm just torturing myself. Maybe, you know, it was hard. It was very hard not having a lot of my loved ones not encouraging me and not being there for me during that time. But it also ignited me. It also struck this fire in me that made me just want to say, watch me. You think I'm going to fail? Just watch me. And so what I really encourage you is look at how that is affecting you. Look at how it's playing through your head, right? And I want you, again, I talk a lot about controlling the narrative in your head. When people start to doubt you, I really want you to start really controlling that narrative. Pay attention. Instead of letting it bring you down, make it fuel you. Make it where you're telling yourself, just watch me. You think I'm going to fail? Let me prove you wrong. And use that as your springboard. You guys, there's nothing, I think, that empowered me more than just wanting to prove them wrong. Wanting to prove those people that thought I was going to fail wrong. Having that owner in my center looking it over. I just, you know, having that director betray me that way. Having the people that I always thought would encourage me think I was not going to make it. It just was my catapult. I used that to become my, you think I'm not going to make it? Well, just watch me. Watch what I can do. I'll show you who I am. So that's really something you can control, right? Really just make sure you've got those thoughts. Don't let them drag you down. The people who care about us the most sometimes can drag us down the most. And a lot of times they are coming from a place of love because they see us hurting and struggling. And they don't understand that their lack of faith in us is actually making it harder and worse, right? They don't understand that. So give them some grace too, I have to say. But don't let them bring you down. Just know who you are, right? And be true to that. So Julie says, totally, I dare people to tell me I can. Yeah, me too. That's like game on, which I think Brandy knows that at this point. So she'll kind of give me these hints like, oh, let's expand and buy another center. Because I'm like, oh, game on, right? So it can be empowering, but you got to make sure you are controlling the narrative in your head, right? The other thing too is, you know, you guys, if you've been watching me, I am a God girl. I am a woman of faith, really leaning into your faith. I could not have made it during that time without my faith, without my prayers, and without God. I mean, there are times, you guys, that I shouldn't have made it, but God showed me that He was there. And I mean, there's like just straight up miracles that happened to me that just showed me that this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where God wants me to be. And there were times, you know, and if you guys have watched me before, I've told you where I've been at the point in my car where I was just crying, and I drove from one of my centers to another. My other center was an hour away. I went from one struggle at my one center, and I literally cried the entire hour drive from one center to the other. And I will never forget pulling up to my center that I still own today, the one I love, and sitting in the parking lot, and I didn't want to go in. I just didn't want to go in. And I told God that day, and that I like, God, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want this life anymore. If this is where I'm meant to be, you got to show me. You've got to show me. I just can't see it anymore. I don't get it anymore. And I took a deep breath, walked into my center, and before I even put my purse down, I think I was putting my purse down, my infant teacher actually brought me an infant and told me, just in case you forgot why you're here, this baby started today. She was abandoned in a hospital in Las Vegas, and because of the work we do and that we don't charge foster children co-pays, this baby now has a home. She had been left in that hospital for about 2 months, I believe it was. Alana, if you're in here, you know how long it was. And they basically nobody wanted her because she was born a crack baby. But and keep in mind, we're in Northern Nevada, so Vegas is about 9 hours from us. It's far away. So there was a foster family here in our area that was able to take her, but they wouldn't have been able to pay for childcare without us. So this baby now had a home after being left in a hospital at birth for a couple months because of what my center does. And that was just such a, you know, I mean, I literally went from my car, and not even 2 minutes later, God's showing me like, yeah, you're supposed to be here. This is where I want you. This is why I have you. And that's, you guys, I still tear up just thinking about that. I will forever be my motivation story. But, you know, that's where you lean in. Just lean into your faith. Lean into where God has you, right? Where he chooses you to be. And that's really got me there. When I was going through all of that and I didn't know if I was going to make it, I knew I was where God wanted me. I knew I was where God meant me to be. And I asked him a lot. So if you're in a place right now where the failures just are feeling so overwhelming that you don't know, ask. God will tell you guys. He does. He tells us, right? If we ask. He's been so amazingly honest and transparent with me that it just warms my heart to think about it. And I just can't even tell you enough about how just placing that faith in him and where your purpose is, it will get you through so much. It has gotten me through a lot in my life. So I'm going to end it with that. And I hope that helps you guys. If you're having a rough week, if you are facing a lot of failure, I know we are all having a hard time right now with school starting. It is not easy for us right now, you guys. We don't need to pretend like it is. We're experimenting a lot. We're going to have a lot of failed experiments, but we're going to get to the successes, right? And overall, we are going to win. We're not going to lose this. So if you guys need to vent, whatever, send me a message. I get it. I've been there, done that. And of course, I have my membership group, which is an amazing group of women. I teach every Tuesday something on business principles. Every Thursday I'm on for open office hours, so you can just get on and chat with me, and I work with my clients one-on-one. So if there's a big frustration, you can just jump on with me. I also meet with my clients all the time who just need me. If they just need me, we meet all the time for my membership, and you get a monthly call with me where we just work through your problems together. But if that's something you're interested in, send me a message. I'd be happy to chat with you, let you know more about my membership, working with me more. This is a lot of the kind of work I do. Mainly I like to try and really really focus on building your business up. But I am also a certified life coach, and I do have my psychology degree. So a lot of times I am your cheerleader. That's a lot of times what I end up doing. So let me know if that's something you'd like more information about, if you need that encouragement, if you need that group. I have an amazing group of women who really come together and empower each other, which I absolutely love. So, and Tammy is in my group. You know what it's like, how empowering it can be just to listen sometimes, just to hop on those hours and listen to what everybody is going through, and we can just encourage each other. It's an amazing group of people who really lift each other up, and the ideas that come from our think tanks are just amazing. It's really, really a cool concept. So that's what I have for you guys today. I hope everybody has a fantastic week and you guys take care of yourself. And remember, don't be afraid to fail. It just is a building block to make you better. Bye, guys.